Hi, this is Mihir Joshi and welcome back to the MJ Show. Now, if you're watching us for the first time, let me tell you what happens here. I'm a singer here in Mumbai. I've also been a radio jockey for many, many years. In fact, today's guest, I met him for the first time at the launch of my second radio show, and then he came on the radio show. We talked a lot about their musical journey back then. I'm going to make him recap a whole bunch of the things that we talked about on the radio show back then today, so that you guys get to hear all about it too, because it's an absolutely incredible story. I'm talking about a rock and roll band that's been playing in India for almost, that's 25 years now, 1988 to 2013, and there's such an awesome story to listen to, and gives me great pleasure to welcome on the MJ Show one of my favorite singers in one of my favorite rock and roll bands. I'm talking about Uday Benegal from Indus Creed. So let's welcome him on the show. Hey man, welcome to the MJ Show.
Thanks,
Great
man.
to have you back here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, like I just told everybody, we met about a year and a half ago when the new Indus Creed was just about to sort of be launched. I think it was a few days before the album was going to get launched. I think you were still recording the album. You told me about 4 or 5 songs are done. You got
right.
a couple more songs. But now the album's out. You've got a brand new album out. It's called Evolve.
Evolve.
And a new set of musicians, a couple of the old guys, couple of new people, and Indus Creed is back, and you guys are touring a lot, performing.
We're playing a lot, yeah. It's
been
good
right?
since we got back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots
busy.
of gigs happening, I'm sure, and also a lot of recognition since the album came out. I mean, awards, and I believe you were inducted in a Hall of Fame recently or something.
Well, I don't know, something like that.
So a whole bunch
I
of
don't
things.
know what these things are,
Yeah.
but
Lots of things happening.
as far as we're concerned, we just
Make
music and
yeah.
keep trying to make more music.
Rock and roll. So, you know what, before we get into the new album, I think it'd be really interesting if we talk a little bit about the journey, because it's been such a fantastic thing. I mean, I know the story, but I know a whole bunch of our viewers who may not have heard the story, and I'd love for people to find out a little bit more about the band. So, it started off when? In 1984?
The band was
85?
conceived in 84.
84.
Yeah. Played just a couple of shows. I
Okay.
joined in 85.
Okay.
Zubin joined shortly after me, Zubin the keyboard player.
Yeah.
Mark Selvin, Jayesh Gandhi, Mahesh Tanaikar were the founding members.
Yeah.
There was a drummer called Mark Menezes as well. So now we've gone through personnel changes.
Lot of
so
personnel
so
changes, of
85
course.
is really when the main lineup
Came about.
came about and stayed together for
quite
really,
a few
really
years.
long
Yeah,
time.
I know. And you guys released your first album soon thereafter, I think in 88.
In 88, we released Rock and Roll Renegade.
Rock and Roll Renegade.
That was, we were called Rock Machine at the time.
Rock Machine, of course. Indus Creed was called Rock Machine back then, and I remember around the same time you guys you had your video. I mean, I think that's around the same time when MTV came into India, right?
No. MTV came in. Satellite TV hit Asia in 92. I think MTV came in by 93.
93. Okay.
Yeah. This was the first video we made, which was the title song of the album Rock and Roll Renegade.
Yeah.
Was a show on Doordarshan called Pop Time.
Oh yeah.
It was being presented by Louis Banks.
Yeah.
And the video was directed by Mahesh Mathai, who was one of the biggest ad filmmakers in the country at the time.
Yeah. So it started playing on Doordarshan, and then I think you guys toured quite extensively at that point of time as well, right? Like
We used to play
all
a
across
lot.
the country,
We
you
used to
guys
play
play
a
a
lot,
lot,
yeah.
and people loved the whole. I think you guys were the first legit rock and roll band, playing.
I think there have been legit rock and roll bands, but I think we were one of the early ones to really push our own material.
Right. Because everyone back then was playing covers mostly.
Pretty much.
And you guys were one of the first guys who said, like, let's write our own
We
stuff.
started out as a cover band like every other band.
Yeah.
And but we got into our desire to start writing our own songs and playing them started soon after that.
Okay. So, before the original music came about, what are the kind of covers that you guys were doing? And what are the kind of bands that you were covering?
We were doing a lot of 60s and 70s rock. So
Okay.
we'd do, later on, a lot of 80s rock as well.
Okay.
But initially it was bands like Led Zeppelin, The Who, Steely Dan,
Yeah.
UFO,
Nice.
great bands.
Great
Wishbone
bands,
Ash,
great music, yeah. Incredible songs. And do you still every now and then throw in a cover at your gigs these days?
Very rarely. Honestly, we struggle. We'd like to.
Yeah.
We're doing one tonight.
Oh, you are?
We're doing a tune called Play That Funky Music by Wild Cherry. But it's an anomaly in our set now.
Right.
And we only do it if there's something that we really want to play, or we're really bored
Yeah.
and want to do something fun.
Sure. I mean, there's no reason why you can't. All the biggest rock and roll bands all across the world they play a cover every now and then too.
See,
So
yeah.
you have the prerogative now to choose.
Yeah, rather than looking at it as a cover, I prefer to look at it as here's a song that I think would be great fun to play.
Yeah.
And would fit into our set.
Fit into your set,
and
exactly.
it's a song written by somebody else. It doesn't matter.
Correct, and it's still you guys playing it, so it's your song.
You
for
make
that
it your
night.
own. You make it your own for the moment,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to give you a chance to see the video that Uday spoke about, Rock and Roll Renegade, the first video, which started off on Doordarshan, but then it picked up on MTV as well, right? And
MTV played it a couple of times,
Couple of
but they were
times.
really keen that we produce better quality videos.
Okay.
And so when MTV came in 92 or 93, whenever it was, that's when we put out Top of the
Top
Rock.
of the Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 videos coming your way. I'm going to give it to you on, and we've started doing this now. In case you're watching it on your cell phone or on your iPad and you can't see the annotations on the screen, just check out the information area below. I'm going to give you links to both the videos. Do check them out. All right, fantastic stuff. Old school Indian rock and roll, man. I'm telling you, I remember as a teenager watching this stuff on television and going like, holy shit, this is awesome. This is like really, really fun. I know so many of your young fans. I mean, even, well, I'm probably one of your slightly, I'm 32, but I'm talking about even the younger people right now, you know, college going kids. I think even they remember those songs and they still think, I mean, I remember whenever I've spoken to anybody about Indus Creed, they would still talk about Top of the Rock and, you know, Rock and Roll Renegade, and they're so fondly remembered and loved. I think it's pretty cool that you've had songs which have had such a long life, you know. I think
Yeah, it's nice. I
cool.
mean, I don't think we listen to that much of that anymore, but it's great if somebody else is really enjoying it. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, of course, your music has evolved as well, you know, from what it was back then to what
As
it
is
is.
the case with every human being and every musician.
Absolutely. So, you know, you are obviously, you know, you would want to listen to what you're making now and what you're looking forward to making in the future as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome that you have stuff back then as well, which you can look back and say that.
Sure, yeah, it's fun to reminisce.
Yeah. All right. So the first video and second video happened, and then what? In 1990, you released your second album, right? With
In 1990, we put out, still under the name Rock Machine,
Rock
we put out The Second Coming.
Second Coming,
Yeah.
which had Pretty Child in it.
Yeah.
But back then it didn't really, it wasn't
Didn't catch
really-
on, it wasn't noticed.
It wasn't noticed.
Yeah.
And then it was noticed later on when you released, when Rock Machine was changed to Indus Creed, right?
Well,
And you
what
released
happened
your
was,
first album.
yeah, well, no, it's not so much with the album.
Yeah.
Before we even put out the self-titled Indus Creed album,
Yeah,
which included Pretty Child as a
Child.
bonus track.
right.
But even before that, we put out the video of Pretty Child,
Okay.
and that got us a lot of attention. It was a beautiful video made by
Yeah,
these
beautiful.
filmmakers,
Yeah.
Nomita Roy Ghosh and Shubir Chatterjee,
Wow.
of a company called White Light. And I think that video got so much attention on MTV that's when it caught everyone's notice.
Yeah, I think you guys won an MTV award that year for
We
it.
won an MTV Video Music Award
for that, and I think I remember that video. I think it was it was a black and white kind of a video, and it just caught on. Everybody was talking about it, and it was I think it was on solid rotation on MTV. I think even Channel V came around then. Is that around the
Channel
same
V
time?
came in, I think,
or
a
a couple
little
of years later, right?
Yeah, a little later.
But I remember seeing the song even
But
on
they
the Channel
played,
V.
they played it a lot as well.
Yeah,
later,
I remember that. They had some, well, you can't remember the names of the shows, but I remember this is when MTV and Channel V were still playing music.
Right.
And, you know, they were playing great songs and videos from all across. And just as often as they'd play an international song, I remember watching Pretty Child being played every now and then
Got a
on
lot,
the channels.
it
got a
got
lot of,
very, very heavy rotation on both channels.
Yeah.
MTV certainly,
Yeah.
who first played it, and yeah, we got a lot of attention. It was great.
yeah.
I mean, we're still surprised by the success of it, but you never know what a person's going to like.
But I think it was a great song, so I think
Thank
it's
you.
brilliant that
Thank you,
it's
but
done so
yeah,
well.
I mean, it's hard for us to be objective like that.
Well, so then let us, all of us, and me tell you that it was an awesome
Thank
song.
you, I'm glad you
and
like
it's
it.
brilliant that, you know, it did
Thank
so
you.
well. I know that, I remember when we spoke on radio, you told me there was one more song on the album that you used to like, and I think that you still, I remember watching a recent Indus Creed set where you guys played. Was it Trapped?
Trapped was on the Indus Creed album. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you released the Indus Creed album later on,
Yeah.
which
We made a video
also-
of Trapped
You
as
made a
well.
video of Trapped, and I think there was one more video.
It was Sleep.
Sleep. So I'm going to give you 3 more videos in the info section over here, which you're going to check out, which you definitely are going to check out. Trapped, Sleep, and Pretty Child. I know you guys have seen Pretty Child a million times, so, you know, check it out once again and tell me what you think about it. Uday, you are on Twitter as well now.
I'm on Twitter as well.
And your Twitter handle is @Uday Benegal?
Yeah.
Simple. At Uday Benegal, at Music Man Mihir. Tweet to both of us. Let us know what you think about what you're seeing right now. If you have any questions for Uday, even though I can't have them right away, I will ask him and then I'll give you your answers back maybe in the comments here or on Twitter directly. So at Uday Benegal, at Music Man Mihir, let us know what you think. And also tell us what you think about these videos that you're going to get to see again, you know. Alright, so so Indus Creed happened and after that around...
I'm just going to mop my brow for a second.
Yeah, it's a hot day here at Hard Rock Cafe. Speaking of which, we are at Hard Rock Cafe today. You know, see, generally we've been going to people's houses and doing the interviews there, but I knew Indus Creed was performing tonight at Hard Rock Cafe along with Soulmate and Spud in the Box, two fantastic Indian bands. So I thought, you know, it'd be a lot of fun to meet Uday here at Hard Rock Cafe, have this beautiful place as our backdrop and talk about music. But yeah.
And that beautiful outfit.
Outfit.
Not sure if you can see if it's in frame, but
yeah, we'll show you a picture of that Elton John's outfit. That's Elton John's outfit. It's insane.
I believe, I mean, it explains a lot of things now, though.
But yeah, it's we love Hard Rock Cafe. I mean, I love Hard Rock Cafe. I keep playing here all the time with my band, and I think I can't think of a better place to sit and talk with what I believe is, you know, a pioneering band for Indian rock music. So yeah, so Indus Creed was the self-titled album came out.
Which is our third album.
Your third album.
Yeah.
And then you took a break for a while, right?
Well, by about 97 or so, we started to get really disappointed with the music industry in India. You were talking about the two music channels and how they used to play music in those days.
Correct.
Well, they were whittling down.
Yeah.
They were shaving it down from the kind of music that we enjoyed listening to, which didn't necessarily have to be American and British rock bands. It could have been all kinds of things.
Correct.
Indian bands, whatever it was, but a certain style of music that we enjoyed listening to, whether it was rock and pop in different forms.
Yeah.
It went first the Hindi pop route and then went more and more Bollywood, and now then of course it became reality-based stuff. Even before it became reality-based stuff, we decided that we're done with this.
Yeah.
The record companies were kind of pressuring us to make a kind of music we didn't want to make.
Yeah.
This is what was happening with the channels, and we'd gotten tired. I think we'd been working pretty hard.
Yeah.
I'd gotten tired of living in Bombay as well, and I couldn't think of any other place in India that I'd like to live in and continue to work in.
Yeah.
So by 97 we wound down and we decided to shut the shutters, down the shutters.
Yeah.
And that's when Jayesh Gandhi and Jayesh was the other guitar player,
Yeah.
one of the guitar players.
Yeah.
He and I we decided to move to New York together.
Yeah.
And we created a band called Alms of
Alms of
Shanti.
Shanti.
We recorded an album over here featuring a bunch of great musicians who were friends of ours.
Yeah.
Tawfiq Qureshi, Rakesh Chaurasia,
Nice.
various people, and Sridhar Parthasarathy, phenomenal mridangam player.
Yeah.
Moved to New York and I
you
lived there for 9 years.
quite extensively over there, right? I mean,
Played quite a lot. We
the
put a
clubs.
band together there.
And did you guys have one more album later on as well, or was it just one album?
We
that you
put
released?
out, and that was also a self-titled album.
Self-titled
Then you kind of do that with your first album
yeah,
usually.
yeah.
So that was just called Alms for Shanti.
Yeah.
And then a record company in India wanted to release that, which was all in English.
Right.
But they wanted us to do a Hindi version as well.
Oh, okay.
So what I did was I got a friend of mine who was very good with Hindi, with language.
Yeah.
Because my Hindi is certainly not good to write.
Yeah.
Barely to speak. But I got him to rewrite the words, not translate, but I prefer to say transpose.
Yeah, yeah.
So convey the same ideas, the same story, but and using language well.
Correct.
But not all the songs would work in Hindi, so we took about 60% of the English album,
Right.
converted them to Hindi versions, and then wrote a few more new songs.
The album was called Kashmakash.
It was called Kashmakash.
Kashmakash. Was there a video for Alms for Shanti at all?
For Kashmakash, yes.
For Kashmakash.
Yeah.
Another video that you're going to see, and I'm going to talk to him a little bit more, but that's going to happen in part 2, where we're going to find out what's happening with Indus Creed right now. So that was your history lesson. Alms for Shanti is kind of where things got over in America, and then Uday came back to India and a whole bunch of things happened. We're going to find out about that in part 2. Just write to us about anything that you want about in part 1 at Uday Benegal on Twitter for him and at Music Man Mihir for me, and catch us back in part 2 of the MJ Show.